In the last two modules, we talked about how to get more conversion acceptance rate so that the efforts that we are doing in identifying our target audience and creating a list of prospects, it doesn't go in vain, right? But in today's video, we will talk about how to craft outbound messages so that our prospect does not just look at it, but they get tempted to reply to our messages, and that increases to make your prospects into your paying clients. And for that, we need to understand what we shouldn't be doing while sending them a messages. So I have seen many people making this mistake where they mention, hope you're doing well, this might be random but seriously impressive work, generic templates, right? So all these lines, you are not the only one who are writing this. So there are other people as well, there are your competitors, you are using the same sentences that you are sending. So what is a different thing that you are doing again, right? And for that, you have to ask yourself that whatever messaging I am sending, does that make sense, or is it just a waste of time for my prospect? Because everybody is short of time these days, but everybody have to grow their business, right? For that part, you need to understand that when your prospect read your messages, they spend somewhere around 7 seconds, and in those 7 seconds, you don't have to convince them to reply you, but you also have to build up your trust. And for that, you have to use a proper framework, and that I'm going to talk about that framework. So that framework is basically value framework, but what is it, how it works, that we will definitely talk about. But before that, you have to understand that not every time you will get a reply. But how will you get a reply when your messages are too general in nature, or they just sound like someone or 100 people have written the same message, right? So that is what you need to specify, and you need to ask yourself. But at the same time, you need to improve your message reply rate. So the one strategy that I told you, that just like we write email subject line, the same way we have to write message subject line as well, so that it becomes clear for the other person what that message contains. And then most of the time your message, after reading it, it will get ignored because first, they might not have interest in what you are offering. Second, they don't know who you are, and then they find you another salesperson even though you have written a very beautiful message. Third, they don't have any trust factor, and they might be talking to one of your competitors, or maybe 10 different competitors, and then they are skeptical with whom they should go ahead, and they do not want to overcomplicate things now because they're already talking to someone else, right? Or maybe they have someone in house, or if they have hired even an agency or a freelancer, they are basically content with them, right? So in those cases, your message will also get ignored. But how we can make sure that, how we will get at least 20-30% reply rate? For that, we have to write a very compelling message, and for that, what we need is, we should be taking a direct and honest approach. There should be a proper value proposition. It can be specific, it can be relevant content, because when you use the psychology of $500 rule, then you can specify it, right? And then be respectful, because not just in terms of like how you're greeting them, but at the same time, you have to save your time, save their time, right? And for that, what you need to do, you need to think again with this $500 rule, where if your ticket size is less than $500, then take the direct approach, in which you can have a 50 to 75 words. That is a message that you can write down. And you can take this structure approach, where talk about their problem, give them the solution, and then if you want them to buy their service, then what is the price you are offering, and then a soft CTA. You can remove this part as well, because sometimes what happens is that when you offer them the price and the message itself, so they just ignore you, because now you're not giving them a reason to come on a call, and then you have just open all your cards, right? So sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. So it depends, like how you wanna structure your message in a low ticket size offer. But have a professional and a direct tone. By direct, I mean that, like, give them the proper solution, give them the proper problem that they might be facing, and then give them the proper CTA, right? The idea behind doing this is to have less follow-ups and more conversion, because this ticket size the ticket size that we are offering might not value the time that you are gonna invest. So it's always good, and it saves the time not just yours, but of your prospects as well, because now they don't have to think again and again just for investing a very small amount of money, right? So that is why it's a very very quick decision. But when there is a trust building process, so you just can't use this approach. And as I mentioned in my previous videos, that ask something of the topic. Do not give them a hint that like you are asking this question because you want to offer the service around it. Ask something more curious that other person won't able to identify that why you are asking, or what is the outcome you will get once they answer that part, right? Then build some interest, right? And after building the interest, give a value, give a value in the hint maybe, right? And then you can have this approach where it can be a consultative tone, it can be a curious. That is what matters in the trust building process. And the overall thing that we are doing is relationship building, because we want to have a good relation, and how that will be done by having a conversation with them. So the more you will talk to them, the better the chances you will have to close them, right? So the goal over here is to have a conversation on the daily basis, so that like they they understand who you are, what you do, how you do it. And the more you will talk to them, the more trust you will build with them, and the more they will be able to know you, not as an agency, or as a freelancer, but as a human being. And that is how you are building this trust. And for this part, you have to use this framework called value framework, where V stands for value, A stands for authenticity, L stands for logic, U stands for urgency, and E stands for evidence. So, for example, I have this framework where I mentioned down, hi Sarah, I help business coaches get 5 to 10 qualified leads per week through LinkedIn without paid ads. So, you see, there's a value behind it. There's an authenticity behind it. By authenticity, I mean my last 3 clients increased their monthly revenue by 40 to 60% within just 90 days, right? And then I have one spot opening next week. So you are now showing urgency that I only have one spot left. What's a 15-minute conversation about your lead generation goals? And then best Alex. So over here, you also have your evidence that like your last client or your last 3 clients have achieved XYZ result. So when you combine this value framework, it creates an urgency in the mind of the user. Oh wow, this person has achieved this in my domain, and then he is only left with just one spot. That means that like he is a very busy person, or she's a very busy person. And when there's a busy thing comes up, that means that like they don't have time. That is why, or maybe they are offering a very good value, and that is why people have booked a lot of calls. So I don't want to miss this chance, or I should not be missing this chance. That is what it creates when you use this value framework, right? Now you can use this framework when you have this direct approach. So for example, hi Marcus, I create LinkedIn content calendars for business coaches. So you are specifying that what you do. 90 days of ready to post content with templates and captions. It's $297 and eliminates a daily what should I post struggle. So you are also providing the value that what problem am I solving? I'm solving what should I post daily, and it costs us $297. Obviously, if you sell this without building your trust, or without people knowing you, then nobody will gonna buy your content calendar, because it's too generic in nature. Because now you are selling a very very common thing these days, which can be created with the help of AI, or with the help of ChatGPT. So obviously over here I won't mention the price of it. Maybe I will use it as a lead magnet, or maybe I can price it as at only $2, and then I can more customize it more, right? Because like once there is a $2 involved, then you can specify, or you can nurture down your lead. But if you ask your coaches in this case, those will be my TG, right? But if you ask them, they will be like, oh, $2, is it a scam going on? Because how will I make you, or how will I pay you $2, right? So that doesn't make sense. But when you ask for a $10, then definitely it makes sense. Now with the help of just $10, you are not making money out of it, but actually you are nurturing down the leads, and then that way uh, you are basically building the trust. Because when they pay you $10, that means now they are trusting you, and then you can ask them to book a one-on-one call. So you can add some more no-brainer offers that, like, with a one-on-one, with just $10, not only you will get a 90 days of content calendar in your domain, but you will also get a one-on-one call with me that lasts for 30 minutes or 60 minutes. So we can discuss like what are your current problems, how you can solve them, and that way these you are able to win their trust, and then you can sell them your $500 offer. So this is the direct approach. Direct approach as in that you offer them something and then you are taking them on a next level, right? That is what you have to identify in a $500 approach. Not always you have to tell your price, but you have to structureize it. So you can use this structure where what you do, who you help, key outcome benefit that you have, specific offer or service that you have, price if you want to show it again, and a simple CTA. That is what I mean. And then when you have a trust building process, then this is what you need to do. Hi David, saw your post about scaling from 6 to 7 figures. Now it shows that like you have done your research part. What's been the biggest operational challenge you have faced during this growth phase? Now this is the question that not give any hint to your prospect that like why you are asking, but at the same time you have to ask yourself, will you get a reply for this question, because it involves their time, and then they have to put an extra effort, and when they're the CEO or when they have grown their company from 6 to 7 figures, why they would be replying you, who you are, why do you want this answer, right? So again you have to ask yourself that will you be getting a reply. Then if they reply, that's exactly what I have seen with other agency owners at your stage. I actually put together a 5-page operational framework that 3 of my clients used to break through that is exact bottleneck. Would that be a worth look for your situation? So over here we have this permission based lead magnets, right? But don't get discouraged if people are not going to reply you after this question, and this is what you need to experiment, that what type of questions people love to reply, because not every time they are open to share their strategies with an unknown person, because for them you are unknown right now, right? So you have to ask yourself that what type of question these people can reply. And that is why in the last video we talked about that like you should be having at least 5 to 10 different questions around their niche, and then you have to pick 3 of them, so that like you can test it out like which question is getting you more replies. So the ultimate goal of having this activity is to have a reply from your prospect. So in the second case we have, hi Lisa, how did you decide to transition from corporate to starting your coaching practice? So now this is more generic, because now you know that the other person was into uh, corporate life, and then he or she started their own coaching business. Now coaches have a tendency where they reply to such queries for sure. They love to, because they love talking to new people. But in this case she won't get an idea that why you are asking it, right? You are asking just to have a conversation, she's replying to again have a conversation, and now both of you are replying because both of you have to have a very good conversation with each other, right? That's a big leap. Would love to hear your story, Sarah, right? So this is what you need to do. This is a template that you can take help of observation about their business post, genuine question about their experience, expression of curiosity, interest in their perspective. That's it. Now always refrain yourself from using hope you are doing well, just a wastage of sentences, I would say. This might be random, but again, no false casual things. Your work is seriously impressive when you don't know who they are, what kind of work they are doing. Just don't write it, because these days everybody knows that like you have no clue about how I'm working on daily basis, so there is no point of writing it, right? Take a direct approach. Hi Sarah, I'm Alex from this and this company. So your post about team scaling challenges, John Smith suggested I reach out. So this is where when you have the mutual connection, then definitely you can take help of it. But always make sure that like if you are taking the help of your mutual connection, so there should be some relation between your mutual thing, your mutual connection, and then your prospect. Otherwise like she will be like, oh, who is John, do I know him? No. Then why he suggested me, or why he suggested you to me? So that is one thing that you have to ask yourself. Then some type of messages that gets ignored. Hi Sarah, hope you're doing well. I came across your impressive profile and your work looks seriously amazing. I would love to connect and learn more about what you do. Complete fake flattering. I'm in marketing too, and I think we could have some great conversations about industry trends and maybe find ways to collaborate. There are so many people in marketing, so will I be just go ahead and like talking to each one of them? No, right? So instead, what you should be doing is I help marketing directors automate their lead qualification process. So this is completely value driven. My clients typically see 40% more qualified leads within 60 days. Evidence is there. Worth a 15-minute conversation about your current lead gen challenges, right? Hi David, this might seem a bit random. Obviously, it's a random, but I noticed your recent post about team challenges and thought it was really insightful. Why are you wasting your time in writing this? Nobody's gonna look at it once they read this type of content. I work with companies like yours and would love to pick your brain about what you're seeing in the market. Why do you want to pick my brain? Just go on ChatGPT and ask it. You will get your answer. Hi David. So your post about team scaling challenges. What's been your biggest bottleneck as you have grown from 10 to 25 people? This type of question, ChatGPT can't answer, because ChatGPT has not grown company from 10 to 25 people. This is just the David who has done this part. So obviously David can only answer, right? Then goes to potential client. Hi Rachel, I help executive women transition from corporate to entrepreneurship. My clients typically achieve their revenue goals 6 months faster than going solo. Worth exploring if those could accelerate your timeline. Makes sense. Consultation to decision maker. Hi Jennifer, what's been your biggest challenge in getting leadership alignment on your digital transformation initiatives? I work with 5 similar organizations in your space and see some common patterns. Again, in all the examples that you are seeing on the screen right now, it's completely value framework driven, right? So always make sure that what you need to do and what type of framework you are using, and then you need to understand their objections part as well. For example, like in the positive interest, that sounds interesting, tell me more. So provide some specific details, maybe some case studies. But when they say we are pretty busy right now, just don't end the conversation. Acknowledge it, offer alternative timeline, because you have spent your time in identifying that prospect, and then you have spent your time in messaging that prospect, and then keeping a track record of it. So you have invested huge time, so you just can't let it go like this. If they are busy right now, that doesn't mean that like they won't be interested in your service, right? So acknowledge that part, give them some alternative solution, give them some maybe permission based lead magnets, offer them something that they can't say no. Just don't sell them, but offer them that they are hungry to get it. But when they say not interested, thanks but not what we need, thank them plus ask for referral, because there is no point in asking it. Maybe you can tell them that okay, it might not be of your interest, but maybe in your industry someone needs my services, because this is what we have achieved and we can do it in your for your referrals as well. And as a gratitude reward, this is what we can get you, right? So if not you, then maybe if we close any client on the basis of yours, then why not we give you a 1 month free service? So that is what these people would like to hear. So just don't end the conversation, because money is always in the follow-up. And when you do such kind of follow-ups, you will see different kind of results. I have seen people just ending the conversation when they see okay, we are not interested, thank you, and then they just don't reply because they think, oh, this is just a dead conversation now. No, that is when you can just take one step ahead, because whenever they reply to your commenters like this, even they are not taking this step, then why not you? Maybe they are just waiting for your next message, and then they are just checking out whether you have strong follow-ups or not, or whether you just let the conversation like this. So that is what you need to understand in the objection handling part that we will definitely talk about. Then common ways to avoid that we have already talked about: obvious fake flattery, usually followed by long page, obviously preparing to sell, generic opener that screams template that we have already talked about. So there is nothing new over here. Messaging template and optimization that you have to do is like not always, as I mentioned, that like not always you will get a reply, even doing all the things in a correct manner, right? So but that doesn't mean that like we should stop testing or sending out messages. So definitely A/B testing is required. Sometimes you have to play with your message subject line, sometimes you have to play with the questions that is there, sometimes you have to play with the different CTAs. So that is what you need to do. So maybe just test one element at a time, then send to 50 prospects per variation, so that like you will have decent data. Just don't experiment it on a very low numbers, otherwise you won't be able to understand what's working, what's not working. Track for at least 1 week, but I would suggest you track for at least 2 weeks, so that like you will have a decent data, and implement your winning version once you get it. Then key metrics that you should be monitoring is open rate, response rate, meeting rate. You can obviously decide it on your like yourself, but these are the main KPIs that you should be monitoring. I have seen many people monitoring very wrong KPIs, but this is what you can monitor, right? And then you can ask some permission quotient technique. For example, like I created a 3-page LinkedIn lead generation framework that helped 5 coaches get 25 leads per month. Would that be useful for your current client scarcity? Hi Rachel, I typically work with 3 coaching clients at a time, have one spot opening January. What a conversion about your 2024 growth goal? So this is what when you can use is like, let's say you have a conversation with your prospect 6 months back, and now you can use this type of funnel because they already talked to you and now you are just offering them something new. So this way you will have a new perspective, because now that particular perspective is like, oh, only 3 clients at a time, and we talked 6 months back, so maybe this person makes sense, so why not I should go ahead and talk to this person. So that is what you can always do, right? And then I would suggest you to have a proper structure and then test it on the different clients, on the different prospects, and that is how you will get your winning outbound message.